From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LALATE this Friday afternoon as we go over your forced stimulus check update of 2021. The Democrats still want you to have a forced stimulus check monthly. We'll be going over all the breaking details in this recording. In the second part of this recording, we'll go over what happened yesterday and why there's now two paths to the finish line. We'll go over what's in path 1 and what's in path 2. And where is all the incredible details. Then we cut to, in the third part of this video, the incredible items of the voting process, how to get forced stimulus to the finish line, and I'll explain how the voting process has been inverted. We also cut to fifth stimulus that has another stimulus check in January, and the raising up of your benefits a lifetime. It's wonderful news. And then viewers continue to get $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 all this week long. It's your opportunity to get it today as well. I'll go over how you get it in this big noontime broadcast. It's a big Friday. It's a wonderful Friday. I'm excited you're here. Let's get to the breaking news, starting right here on Noontime LA. Hey, good noontime, everybody. How you doing? Congratulations, you made it to the weekend. You made it to the weekend. That is an accomplishment. How you doing? It's very sunny here in Los Angeles. So sunny you need sunshades. You need sunglasses in the kitchen. It's just like sunny at like 4 o'clock in the morning today. I don't know what's going on here. How's the weather where you are? Tell me where you're watching from and how's the weather. Jump in the live chat right now. In this recording, we'll be going over the incredible great news about your forced stimulus check. The forced stimulus check is still in there, still a monthly stimulus check, but we'll be going over the breaking news in the second part of this video. Second part of this video, we will be going over how they're doing the paths differently. The third part of this video, we'll be going over the voting process. Later in this video, we'll be going over fifth stimulus that raises your benefits up a lifetime and gives you another stimulus check next year, and also incredible relief across the board. And then the middle recording, we go over the thousands of dollars. If viewers are just getting fortunes this week. One viewer got $12,000, another got $10,000. Your opportunity to get as well. This is LALATE, the only 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week financial channel in America, live in America in the morning and it taped in the afternoons. I'm next back with you with Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. That is a huge show going over all the breaking news today. You're going to see complete coverage. Then Evenings LA as well at 5 o'clock and then Overnight's Crypto. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this channel. Thank you for the massive subscribers this week. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video. 2,000 to 3,000 likes. Every like helps in the algorithm rankings. It also delivers a nice tostada salad. I mean, it's better than the vinaigrette from yesterday. And consider becoming a member. Let's get right into that monthly stimulus check right now with the House bill and the Senate proposal. Both monthly, but slightly different on the number of months and also the payouts. So let's start right now. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year monthly. Senate proposal, July to December. So less checks under Senate. Let's look at the monthly payouts. House, $1,000 a month after first month, $2,000. Senate amount unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Ooh, boy. $2,000 a month or 6 months, $12,000. Or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. That is deliciousness right there. But let's go back to something we need to look at, which is this one. Yeah. Pandemic plus 1 year. Well, the legislators may contend the pandemic's over, so there's just 1 year of stimulus checks. If you're on the live chat just after 11 o'clock a.m., get ready to vote House or Senate and tell me where you're tuning in from, House or Senate. But if they say there's just 12 months under the House bill, then that would be $13,000 because it's 12 checks over 12 months. Compare that to the Senate over 6 months of this. I think you have an opinion. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now and vote House or Senate. House or Senate, and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather this Friday afternoon. Who gets a fourth stimulus check? Well, the Democrats would represent that everyone who got a third stimulus check gets it as well. The Democrats say they want to give a fourth stimulus check to single individuals, $75,000 or less. Democrats say they want to give a fourth stimulus check to married couples, $150,000 or less, double it. Democrats say they want to give a fourth stimulus check to a family of 4, quadruple it. And Democrats say they want to give a fourth stimulus check to people on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, survivor benefits as well. And congratulations, there you go. The fourth stimulus check is not income, so it's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check is a monthly stimulus check. It's not a waivable check. So if you go to the discotheque tonight and you see the check trying to break a pop and lock, and you say, "Hey, check, is that the pop and lock or you're waving at me?" "You're not waving at me." "Oh, pop and lock yourself." Rude check. It's not a rude check, just doesn't know how to dance. It just don't take it out on the check because its dance moves are bad. It's also not a waivable check. So there you go. The check would go out in the month of July, for the month of July, in the month of August. For the month of August, the senators would, and the House members represent, they'll be calling the vote by July 4th, and they'll be dancing to the finish line. And there you go. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the breaking news of what happened in the White House yesterday. You'll be seeing the 2 paths that are now at play and what those 2 paths mean for you. I'll be breaking it all down with you with new graphics on noontime. And then the third part of this video, we go in over the voting process because now it's different. It's inverted. I'll explain how. It's all wonderful news. But first, let's get a preview of the second half of this video. This stimulus heats up with breaking news from the Department of Labor today, signaling that the economy is growing just about as strong as we thought it was. Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve this week, said that inflation is going to reach that peak in December. This is huge for your fifth stimulus because it'll raise your benefits up a lot. How much? I'll show you in the second half of this video. Plus, that fifth stimulus check as well. But first, let's get some money. It's the weekend, and you're going to pop and lock on the dance floor next to the check. You need that extra money. I want to congratulate you. You are just absolutely killing it. In December of last year, when second stimulus was still not being passed, people needed money. And I stepped up and I got people $250,000 for rent and things like that. I got people like Tyrone $15,000 for their family of 4 in Boston. You're doing the same right now because you need money and you're getting the money. Viewers this week got $12,000 for rent, $10,000 for rent. Last week, they got $6,000 and $5,000 for SNAP. The week before, $7,000 for SNAP. It's your opportunity to get this money right now. So get a pen and paper ready. I'm going to show you in this video, stay to the very end, where you get this money. So get that pen and paper ready. We're going to start with 3 items: your rent, your utilities, and your mortgage assistance and homeowners utilities. It's wonderful. And how much can you get? Family for rent, you can get about 4 to 6 months of rent. I usually say about $5,000, but this week people have been disproving me by getting $10,000, $12,000 repeatedly. So each place has different eligibility. I'm going to show you where to reach out to. Each place has different eligibility. If one place says no, reach out to the next. They also have their own pots of money. All right, you got that pen and paper ready? And if it's a Crayola crown, it must match my shirt. All right, here we go. City Hall, you're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority. Your county hall, your county housing authority. Your state hall, your state housing authority. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID. Rent assistance because of COVID, or mortgage assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus or Nancy's fan club. There was such a thing? I did not know that. They don't know those things. I don't know them either. So don't say things they don't know. And don't say things like Mitch's aerobics class. They don't know that either. And so there you go. The next pile of money has been wonderful. Lynn Glenn got it, Gail got it, and you heard in this video, viewers got as well. What is it? It's money for SNAP. SNAP is a fortune. It is now a real fortune. Viewers have been constantly getting $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, but in a family of 4 in Hawaii can get upwards of $16,000 a year. Why so much money? Because of 2 wonderful executive orders from Biden, one from Trump, that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December nationally. SNAP is money for food that you get from Department of Agriculture. So get this money for food by reaching out to Department of Agriculture. And there you go. Lynn, Glenn, Gail got this as well. Tim and Linda got some rent and utilities. You're killing it. I'm killing it. Everyone's killing it except that check on the dance floor. You're not killing it on the dance floor. Don't think you are. And there you go. $15,000, $16,000 for SNAP, $5,000 for rent, and we are only 9 minutes of this video, and I got more money for you right now. $5,000. States are sending back money that they initially had paid you due to computer error. What's going on? The federal government has identified states as owing you money. They initially overpaid you due to a computer error during the unemployment payout period, and then asking you to return it, and you did. Well, the federal government said, nope, that was your money to keep. And it was their computer to fix. So when are you getting it? Or where are you getting it? To direct deposit. When are you getting it? Reach out to your respective state and say, I want to know when I'm getting back that check due to computer error you had, and can you track it with a computer that actually works? There you go. And finally, the big pot of money, which is the refund back from IRS. Margaret got it, Cod got it, Michael got it. If you got it as well, jump in the live chat. And if you got anything from this channel, whether it's $100 or $100,000, jump in the live chat and say what you got. Every time that someone reveals something, we all just sort of have a little victory dance, even if it's not us, because we see someone else getting, we're like, really? We all have that. It inspires all of us. It inspires me. It inspires you to go get it as well. What is this last pot of money back from IRS? The refund of the unemployment. Let's go over how much, where, and when you're going to get it. All the details starting right now. First, how much? Let's say you had $9,000 of unemployment benefits. You paid $5,000 of total taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on the unemployment benefits. You're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, if that's what was on your return. Otherwise, in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Yeah, about 70% of the time you can track it. Go to irs.gov and set up a username and password. Do a transcript search. And 70% of the time, you'll be surprised at what it has to say. It'll say the tax return you filed, the taxes you paid, who really shows up at Mitch's Lobster Fest, Mitch's favorite lobster sauce, and whether AOC really does do that. And then finally, the refund check coming back. All those wonderful details. Anything more wonderful than that? Yes. It's the second part of your fourth stimulus check updated 2021 starting right now. I'm going to go over the breaking news that happened yesterday. Still happening breaking news today. We'll be going over what happened yesterday. But first, a summary and then the details. The summary? Your stimulus checks are still in the same place. They're still in the recon. They're still supported by the same people that support it, and they still can do it by the month of July. So what happened then yesterday that's different? They took out stuff that has nothing to do with you, that never had anything to do with you, and put it somewhere else. Oh, that's what they did? Oh, okay. Yeah, that was like a lot of hot air they had yesterday for something that had nothing to do with the American people. So let me explain what happened. If you've ever watched a TV show, a sitcom, and you liked a certain cast member, you're like, I like that cast member, but that cast member doesn't belong on that show. Put that person in another show. They do a spin-off. They put the person in another show. That's sort of what they did yesterday. They said, we have a big recon, but some of the stuff in this recon doesn't belong in it. Take it out and spin it off and put it somewhere else. And that's what started it. It started actually this Wednesday night, when Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi met with Joe Biden in the White House and said, we have an issue. The recon, where everything is, we only have a recon as of Wednesday. This big recon is too big. It's too big. It's bloated. It's distended. It needs to take some gas X. And it has too much stuff in there. We need to take some stuff out because we have a problem. There's too much stuff in there, so we can't pass it because it's too big. And if you take it out and don't put everything we need as a group in somewhere else, we won't pass that as well. So they had an idea. Take out the stuff and put it somewhere else and have two paths. And that started this. They keep in the recon, but they took out stuff out of the bloated recon and put it into the bipartisan path. Now you see the word path. So what did they take out and put into the bipartisan stuff? Bipartisan path? Stuff that has nothing to do with you and me. They put into the bipartisan path the roads and bridges. They took out of the recon the roads and bridges and put into the bipartisan path. And what's in the recon? Everything else that was in the recon before. So you're still in the same place. Forced stimulus is still there. Checks are still there. Climate is still there. CARES economy is still there. All the progressive policies are still in the recon. So to recap, we had started with one path, a bloated recon, and then they decided to do a spin-off where they're going to take out certain things of the recon and put it somewhere else. And that somewhere else is called bipartisan. What did they take out and put into the bipartisan? Things that have nothing to do with you and me. Unless you own a bridge. They put in the bipartisan roads and bridges. That's all they did. And what are they leaving in the original recon? Everything else that was already in the recon. So it's all still there. It's just now less bloated. Still in the recon, the fourth stimulus, the climate, the CARES economy. Now, what's important to note is that this is actually quite delicious because the recon is now very, very progressive, and that all the progressive policies are almost protected like a fort because they're in the recon, and everything that wasn't progressive is out of it. So checks, monthly stimulus checks, very progressive. Jalapal provision. Climate, progressive. That is from the president. CARES economy, which involves seniors and their items, progressive as well. So do we have bills? We do not yet have bills. So you see me using the words paths, because that's actually the words they use. Paths. We don't have bills yet. What will be the bills? The eventual bills will be a reconciliation procedural bill, which you've heard on this channel for about 2 weeks, the reconciliation substantive bill, which is where the substance of the recon is, and the bipartisan bill, which will be where the roads and bridges are. Very easy, isn't it? It's not particularly complicated. They just move things around. And it's ironic because a week ago today, Jalapal had a comment. And I've read her comment every single day since then. But now her comments make total sense. I had told you that the president had 2 progressive policies that he was going to go to the mat for and require them in the recon. Guess what? They're still in the recon. And that he wanted to back Jalapal's progressive policy that she wanted in the recon. And by all indication, they're still in the recon. His progressive policy, climate, CARES economy. Her progressive policy, stimulus checks, and a lot of other stimulus items, which I'm going to get to later. So Jalapal, a week ago today, said the president told her to keep on doing what she's doing. You see why? Because everything she wants is still where it is, and everything that didn't belong in recon is somewhere else in the bipartisan now. Brian Schatz said the president has repeatedly told him that the progressive policies are his priorities. Meaning his priorities are still in that recon. So to recap, so you understand again how we are, we had started the week with one bloated recon, but they decided to take out of the recon roads and bridges and put them in a separate path. So roads and bridges are in the bipartisan path, and everything else that was already in recon is still in recon. The bipartisan path, again, will be roads and bridges. And the recon now is still everything else that was already in recon. And in fact, it's now very protected as all very progressive policies. So how did we get to this wonderful spot? How did we get to this spot? Well, it was also Jalapal, who I'm really thinking is going to be the next Speaker of the House at this point. I mean, she's everywhere. She's absolutely everywhere. Jalapal had written Schumer and Pelosi a letter saying, Chuck and Nancy, call the vote on the recon. Now, that letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, who were among the 100-plus House Democrats who had written the president a letter a week earlier saying, Mr. President, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Now, that's wonderful news. Can we top that? Yes, we can. When 7 House Subcommittee, and watch this group very carefully because I'm bringing them up late in this video. This is a very important group. 7 House Subcommittee members wrote the president a letter saying, we're on the subcommittee that writes stimulus checks, and we will be writing monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Who are these people? They're on the House Subcommittee, as I just said, who wrote the first stimulus check, wrote the second stimulus check, wrote the third stimulus check, and represent they're writing the fourth stimulus check now. And they say they're writing a fifth stimulus check. Wow, that is really wonderful news. More about that fifth stimulus check later in this video. Can we top that? We can. As the president oversees 2 weeks ago tomorrow, anchored 4 stimulus to the edge of the finish line by getting provisions no longer needed in the recon because they're now covered by international agreement. Let's go over what that was. The president wants to pay for recon. Let's go back to that graphic again. Pay for recon by raising U.S. corporate taxes. Notice I'm showing you that graphic. It's not the other one. It's the recon is paying for more on corporate taxes. Well, he said at the time, I'm worried about raising U.S. corporate taxes because corporations may move overseas where the corporate tax rate is lower. So he reached out to those other countries with lower corporate tax rate. He said, can you move it up? And they said yes, tentatively. To which he said to his staff, I like how this is going. Let's bring Jill's potpourri to these countries in December. Nice holiday gift, and get them to sign on the dotted line. Well, he surprised us all, because 2 weeks ago, Biden did it. He went overseas and got those countries to sign on the dotted line now before stimulus. anchoring the recon for stimulus to the finish line, because now the recon for stimulus is easier to pass because provisions about international taxes are no longer needed in the recon for stimulus path. They're in the international agreement. Wow, now that is smart and that is brilliant. Can we top that? We can. With the third part of your forced stimulus check update coming up after this break, we'll be going over why the voting path is different. It's actually inverted. And why the finish line is the same way, but it goes to the finish line with something else. I'll explain how that's different as well. And we go over fifth stimulus and also that fifth stimulus check. Is there something more wonderful than that? Yes, the volunteers. If you've had problems finding that rent, utilities, or SNAP or internet, don't worry. The volunteers are the true embodiment of the Purple Power spirit. They're salt of the earth, and they can help you find that money for you right away. So reach out to them. How do you find them? Open the description of this video, go down the description, and look for the community page. It has an emoji of a house next to a picture, next to a link to the community page, news.lalate.com. Click the link, and it'll send you over to the community page. There is a series of volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Reddit, and Instagram, and you can reach out to them, and they'll help you get that money. They cannot cook you a tostada salad. They cannot get you invitations to Sirloin's disco dance. They cannot get you Casino VIP tickets, but they can certainly get you all this other stuff. And I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with incredible great news still about your fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus right after this commercial break. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on Mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica on Noontime LA. It's a big noontime, and I'm very excited for you. We're going to have big updates about fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus in the second half of this recording. We're going to be going over the voting process, which is totally different. It's inverted, but I'll explain it easy breezy to you. You see how graphics make it easier to explain something that's particularly not complicated when you explain it slowly. And you've been doing a great job. And then we cut to fifth stimulus as well. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Thank you for joining for Mornings LA today. Our most watched Mornings LA, I think, in almost 4 months. It was absolutely insane. Tonight's Afternoons LA at 3 p.m. and Evenings LA will be astronomical, so you don't want to miss those videos across the board. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Before I start the second half, I want to thank one of the viewers, which I don't often jump into live chat during a broadcast, but I want to thank WR because he went over and above as a Purple Power member. He says he called Chris Coon's office, which I adore. Calling people as a Purple Power push is the true embodiment of Purple Power pushing. We all know who Chris Coons is. He's one of the closest confidants of the president. He's a senator for Delaware, of course. And this is what WR says. And I asked what he wants in the fourth stimulus bill. Talked to his secretary. She said that Senator Coons is working on the Senate bill for MSC. Thank you. Wonderful. So there you go. Let's heat up with fifth stimulus. The there's a lot happening in fifth stimulus. First, let's go over the stimulus check. There will be a fifth stimulus check. Those House Democrats represent that the fifth stimulus check would start in next year, but the voting on it would finish about November, December. The drafting of it would be in September. Second, we learned from the President of the United States that he's dedicating $1 billion to the Social Security Administration, which is wonderful. So that third stimulus, fourth stimulus, fifth stimulus, and all your monthly stimulus checks would arrive now on time. And then finally, let's turn now to fifth stimulus. Raising your benefits up this fall with a one-time lift, applying a new benchmark. That new benchmark is inflation. So what happened today? The Labor Department released a new number. And you could probably do the video yourself. You guess what? Yeah, the inflation number was hot. It was really hot. This has been a great week for fifth stimulus. Why? Because now everyone, from Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, Wall Street, the CPI, the PPI number, and this number today, all say that inflation will be at its hottest spot, its highest spot, in December. This is wonderful news for your fifth stimulus because that's when they apply your benchmark for next year's benefits. Let's go over the calculation of this right now. First, on a fifth stimulus, to raise your benefits up one time. Then in December, they apply that inflationary benchmark, or November, for next year. They'll remove the asset limit, and they're going to remove the marriage penalty and the income exclusion. So let me explain how this works and why this is wonderful news. We were hoping for three things. One, that we reach that peak of inflation in December. Two, they pass the bill. And three, the inflation number is really high. Well, we got one of the three today, this week, that the inflation number will reach its spike at the end of the year. We just have to wait to get them to pass the bill, and we have to hope that the inflation rate is huge. Let's go over how this works out. First, they'll raise your benefits up one time. One time it's a lift up. Who's you? If you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, multiple benefits, or casino benefits. You know, the free VIP tickets, I don't know. Raised up one time. Then they apply the new benchmark in December. You got that. That's easy. When they apply the benchmark, November, December, for what? Next year benefits, you got that as well. And you got that's inflation. And you got that it's going to be a bigger number than it is now. You got that. It's very easy. So how does this work? Well, as inflation is going up, it's going to hit that peak now in December, right when they apply your benefits. Wow. So we only just have to wonder what the inflation rate will be. And we'll see that more over the next few weeks. Most Wall Street analysts now are talking about 10%, currently 4, heading to 10. If that's the case, then your benefits would step up not just 10% next year, but a lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the year after that, the inflation rate is 1%, then you will be at 1 plus 10%. It's wonderful news. Fifth stimulus will also involve removing the asset cap, dating back to a 1980s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 on hand. Now you'll be able to have that money, and it's time for some stimulus checks, and also maybe a taco in the hand. Room for that as well. They're going to remove the income cap, dating back to this 1960s law that says you can't work. Now you'll be able to work and stay on benefits. And finally, they're going to remove the marriage penalty. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest and no longer fear the marriage penalty. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will be able to marry and no longer fear loss of marriage benefits. So there you go. That is fifth stimulus. But if you're watching this video and you're wondering how are these people getting $5,000, $6,000, $10,000, $12,000 so regularly in this 1 week of this channel, it's because they're members. The membership link is at the top of the chat in the pinned comment. When third stimulus was passed, I said to you, yeah, you'll get a $1,400 stimulus check, but you're also going to get $5,000 to $20,000 under the stimulus package, and that you need to go get it. It's mostly application-based. Well, the great news is that viewers have followed that advice. Daily, I'm giving the members of this channel a breakdown of everything that's in third stimulus so that you can go out and get that money. It's delivered to you as a member via the community page on YouTube from me daily, handwritten. And it breaks down all the big monies under third stimulus you can go get. Also, what's in fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus. So consider becoming a member. Which brings us back to the third and final part of our fourth stimulus check updated 2021. Early in this video, we went over the fact that there is now two paths. The path number one is the original path, and path number two is the new path. Let me find the graphic. There we go. Here's the path to the past. Path one is the original path, the recon. But path two is the new spin-off, bipartisan. I also explained to you that the bipartisan was the spinoff to put in roads and bridges only in the bipartisan, and that everything that was in the original recon is still there. Forced stimulus, checks, climate, CARES economy. I also told you that they have to do 3 bills. They don't have the bills yet, but they have to eventually create and vote on 3 bills. The reconciliation procedural, the reconciliation substantive, and the bipartisan. So what is new this afternoon about the voting part of this? What's new is they're going the other direction. So if you've been with me for a year, you know how bills are voted on and become law, at least over the last year. They always started in the House, then went to the Senate, and then were signed by the president. And when they start in the House, they generally start in House subcommittees where they work on that subject matter, comes out of the House subcommittee, goes to the House floor, then off to the Senate, off to the president. In the case of a reconciliation, they add in a 2-day vote-a-rama in the Senate where the senators can amend, and off to the president. What are they doing this time? They're going the other direction. So they announced the agreement will be that they'll go the other direction on both of these 2 paths. They'll start in the Senate, then go to the House, then go to the president. Concern? Not a concern for me. Makes no difference. For Purple Power pushing, you want to really push for the senators because that's where it's starting. And I really appreciate that viewer, I think it was WR, for calling Senator Coons, who everyone really adores, because the senators are starting. Now, I love his insight of that message from that viewer, because one of the topics I've been talking about all day long, and I'll probably talk about all weekend long, is who is taking the lead on drafting the legislation. Under third stimulus, under second stimulus, under first stimulus, it always started in the House subcommittees. But in the case of the third stimulus, because it was Democrats in control of both the House and Senate, the idea that Schumer came up was that the House subcommittee took the lead and the Senate subcommittee worked hand in hand with them and watched over their shoulders, so that it never went into a Senate subcommittee. They just did it at the same time initially. You've seen a couple of recordings of me cover that. So you saw those letters early in this video where I said, I'm going to bring these letters up later in the video. I'm bringing them up right now. Remember those House subcommittee members said, we're putting monthly stimulus checks in there. Even though the bill starts in the Senate, I'm not worried about that because I think that the House subcommittees are still working hand in hand with the Senate subcommittees, like they did with third stimulus. Whether the Senate subcommittee takes the lead or doesn't take the lead, no one may ever know. They may never tell us. But that's how Chuck Schumer has always done it. He has to do it that way because ultimately you can't leave out House subcommittees. You have to have them part of the discussion. And I think that's how he's doing it. Next, the starting process is fine. You understand they're both starting in the Senate, going to the House, then to the president. Pretty fine. So is the ending different? The ending is different. Now, what I want you to understand is journalists, myself, yesterday and today, all looked at the ending process and thought it's not been explained very well by the legislators. So it's potentially still fluid. What are they saying? That they have to both end together. How do they both end together? So they're basically making it sound like you start the recon and you start the bipartisan in the Senate together. You call the vote on one, you call the vote on the other. They go to the House, and it goes to the House, then goes to the President, goes to the President, and both are on the table, and then the President takes a pen with one and signs this one, takes a pen with this and signs that one. That's basically the way they're making it sound, but they haven't explained themselves because they're legislators. So they haven't explained themselves. So we're still waiting for more clarity on that subject matter. Finally, can they get this all done in July? They absolutely can get this still done in July. I want you to know that Chuck Schumer, some of his quotes yesterday, the phrasing was peculiar because he would use a sentence and then you would look at it and like, that sentence is a little strange. But am I happy with this? I am happy with this. It actually seems to almost create like a fort, like a medieval fort around fourth stimulus. One of the things you haven't heard me talk about a lot in these videos of fourth stimulus is what else is in fourth stimulus. Well, they're now talking about it because all the progressives have been wanting to talk about their other things that they want to have enforced stimulus, and they're now coming out and talk about it. They're talking about these lifetime monthly checks for children and a lot of other things that some journalists are calling social stimulus items that are basically lifetime benefits, not just monthly, not just 1 month, just massive amounts of checks for people over massive periods of time. Huge social reform items, which are for you. Has nothing to do with bridges, has nothing to do with roads. And so I think the progressives are very happy about this because you're now seeing them come out in news say, well, I got all my protection of all my things in there. Remember earlier in this video, I told you the president wants his climate reform. The president wants his CARES economy, which is seniors and medicine, and Jalapal and her team want those checks. Well, then you also have the Richard Neals of the world, head of the Ways and Means, that wants all these things for families going forward. And I know you're thinking families is in the fall, but they're putting a lot of this in this as well. So very, very exciting. Finally, narratives and Purple Power Push. You have been absolutely wonderful as viewers over the last year. Whenever I make something that is complicated, explanatory, so you can digest it and understand it and repeat it back to someone else, you've been absolutely brilliant, smart, intelligent, on top of it, and accurate. But in the case of something like this, I fully believe that people other than you, other people, may only want to start to hear one sentence that they saw on the television and then immediately think they have understood it. And I think the fake narratives are just going to be out of control. Here is my Broadway acting debut reincarnation or performance of how fake narratives is going to sound. I saw the president on the TV yesterday. All he talked about was roads and bridges. No, sir. There's two paths. There's a recon path and there's a bipartisan path. No, there isn't. They're only talking about roads and bridges. There's two paths, sir. The bipartisan path has the roads and bridges, and then the recon path has everything else. I didn't see that. They didn't talk about it. Well, they don't have to talk about everything. They're also doing recon. But what's recon? They're not doing a recon. They didn't have to do a recon because they're doing a bipartisan. No, they're doing two paths, sir. The president said it. The legislators. I didn't hear that. So... there's my Broadway, not going to win an Oscar for that performance. But that is how it's going to play out. I just sense it playing out because people who don't want to hear the whole story that are going to be at the water cooler by noontime today with you or on the front porch tomorrow, Saturday morning, say, they heard one sentence and they already have an opinion about it. Well, you got to listen to the whole thing because it's a little bit elaborate. And until it's broken down, you're not going to understand it. Finally, Purple Power Push. I want to thank that viewer, and I want you to do what that viewer did. Picked up the phone and called his senator. Senators are now really more key in the Purple Power Push because the bill is starting, well, the drafting of the bill, the path, is starting in the Senate side. So it's sort of like you want to get it right out the gate. You want to get it right. So contact your Democratic senators. Contact your progressive senators as well. Make it very clear. Need these multiple stimulus checks. We need those stimulus checks. I would even, sometimes people want to sort of angle their argument. I would even angle your argument. I hear you want to do checks for other people. We need checks for a lot of people. You could angle it however you want to check. The labor numbers are out. The unemployment numbers are still growing. People are on new jobless claims. You could angle your statement, whatever you say when you pick up the phone. Call them up and be respectful and be very emphatic. And this is the time and opportunity to do it. Then go on social media and be respectful on social media. Tag your senators, Democrats. Also stay with your progressives, your Jalapals, your progressive House members, your progressive senators as well. It's a big win for the progressives, this two-path process, because the progressives are basically in that protected fort with that original recon. And now the progressive policy of the president of climate and CARES economy and the progressive policies of checks for people are in there as well. And so with that, I hope this video has been helpful and informative for you. I'm back with you on Afternoons LA at 3 o'clock Pacific Standard Time and then Evenings LA at 5. Both shows are monster shows. You don't want to miss them. And then this weekend, I fully believe that the legislators will be talking more about this now that they have a better sense and opinion of the situation. So I have a lot of breaking news expected for this weekend as well. So with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record in 1 year. I want you part of this channel, so hit that subscribe button. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes. It also delivers a nice antipasta. And consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP, and get delivered to you daily the items that are in third so much so you can get that $5,000, $10,000, $15,000. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.